Just a refresher, in case anybody forgot after that prolonged delay, we have Houseplant on Nurgle, Prussian Prince on Bretonnia versus Flying Taco on Tomb Kings and F-Pod on Cathay. Alright, so for the forces of Nurgle Bretonnia, we have the Fey Enchantress. Looks like she's passive spamming. Again, I talked about before, but these lore passes are really, really effective when you have a massive army in a 2v2 because they affect your allies' units as well as Fey providing a lot of utility on her own. We have Henri Le Massif and a regular paladin, pretty common as Fey's bodyguards. A couple of Knights of the Realm, and then whatever's over here. We have double Blessed Field Trebs. We have a Foot Squire, we have a Grail Relique, and we have, for Nurgle, we have Festus the Leech Lord, also passive spamming. Again, it basically has the same effect as the Lore of Light passive, and it just stacks on that extra healing map wide. It's very, very effective, as well as Festus providing his own healing, which is very, very common. We have a Cultist. Cultist debuff aura is very, very nice in the big blob fights that are very prone to happen in 2v2s. And then we have a Chaos Warrior frontline for Nurgle. Great one choice, makes a lot of sense. You're probably expecting some Jade Warriors from Cathay, so having the AP is very, very nice. Now, for the forces of XMT, with Not Flying Taco and F-Pod. We have Skeleton Spears. We have the Eyes of the Desert, very, very common choice in Bretonnia. Just they kill Knights very, very quickly. And we have the Sphinx of Uzkep. Is that it? Yeah, Uzkep. I'm going to go with that. This bad boy, you don't see him very often, but he's a very, very strong anti-large duelist with flaming damage and a ton of HP, so he will just destroy any large singlet he comes across. I'm not really sure what large singlet he's expecting. I mean, he'll kill this cultist, no problem. He is mounted. But maybe Fey? Maybe he's trying to just dig out Fey and get her out of the blob fights? Or maybe just worried about fighting Knights. Maybe just there to fight Knights. I'm not really sure what the goal is with him. Righteous Lances are also very, very good at killing Bretonnian Knights. They land on them, so they guarantee the charge bonus. They'll do very well into Questing Knights, even Grail Knights they'll do just fine into. Then to back that up, we have a line of, what's this? Peasant Longspears, Jade Warriors, a couple of Cannons. More Jade Warriors. We have Arkan the Black, Spirit Leech, and Buna, as well as several of his other bound abilities. We have Skeleton Spears, we have Peasant Longspears. We have Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon. Haven't seen this bad boy in a while. Dragon's Breath. It's nice for clearing out the peasants. I'm not going to do a whole lot to the Chaos Warriors. He also has Warding Iron for that AoE ward save, and he has Transformation of the Dragon, so pretty light on the kit for Zhao Ming. Then we have Jade Warrior Crossbows, more Skeleton Spears, and more Jade Warrior Crossbows just to provide harmony. Alright, pretty straightforward build. So a lot of single entity power on the side of Tomb King's Cathay. A lot of very, very elite units. What are USB 6? Okay. Okay, guys. Alright. So like I was saying, I did practice this matchup against Houseplant. I was playing Cathay with one of my clanmates against Houseplant and Prince. And one thing that Houseplant loves to do is just walk this cultist up and try to get it shot to farm the summon. Although he actually looks like he opted out of bringing it this time. Okay. I guess I avoided shooting enough that he decided it wasn't worth it. Cannons are firing down onto the single entity blob. Bretonnia's just trying to cap this point with their SEMs to force the artillery battery out of here. Because basically the last thing you want to do as Nurgle Brett here is force onto this tiny area, because you have to come straight into the front into Brace Spears and Jade Warriors. So what we want to do is cap these 2 points down here and force them to come down the hill, and then that opens them up to getting a better engage down here, as well as getting a flank opportunity from the low ground. Thinks of Uzkep, however, could turn the tides. He'll probably beat the crap out of Henry and the Paladin. Honestly, I feel like these characters are here a little bit early. They could just hide out of line of sight and just wait to do this. But, you know, it works out. The Tomb Kings are dedicating resources down here, which does leave their lines on the top a lot more flimsy. The Trebs are firing in, and these Chaos Warriors are just staying back here behind the slope of the hill. A, they're out of sight, and B, they can't be shot by the cannons. Like, it's entirely possible that the red team doesn't even know these guys are here just yet. But Tomb Kings are set up on the low ground with some spears, as well as the Sphinx of Uzkep, which can be very, very hard to dislodge for Bretonnia. Bretonnia really struggles to kill these large single entities. And I doubt Nurgle brought a whole lot of SEM killing power either, so it'll be a little tricky, although the Cultist Double Paladin could probably do some pretty good work against it. I just don't know if it's worth your time. Low ground point is going to the Bretonnian Knights. Completely uncontested, to no one's surprise. This cap point is actually going to favor the Tomb Kings, but the colors are bugged. On the high ground, Cathay is taking the objectives. The Trebs are firing it onto the Jade Warriors. Doing a little bit of damage. Not the greatest shots. Peasants aren't known for their accuracy. Yeah. Many of these crossbows up here to actually provide harmony to everything on the front line. I really need to close Discord so I don't get distracted by DMs. Let me close things. Alright. So now the Festus, seeing all these blobs just pulled back to Festus to get healed up. Brett and Nurgle just pulled back to just holding one objective, so they're going to probably try to just get some kind of critical mass and then before they push. But I'm not sure what that condition will be when they're actually going to go in. It looks like Cathay and Tomb King's actually the lines pretty spread out. It means they're actually pretty easy susceptible to being flanked in the low ground. There's not a whole lot to actually ingrain in these knights if they just want to go in the low ground. Prince is actually banking a ton of supplies. I suspect he's going to, when they decide it's time to go, he's just going to summon a bunch of, right to the realm, Grail Knights, Questing Knights, something like that. Just going to spam out a bunch of knights all at once and just go into blitz. Whereas Nurgle's just going to keep bringing out Chaos Warriors. That's really what's good about Nurgle, is their tankiness. So Nurgle just brings their front line. Nice tanky front line, then Bretonnia supplements it with good cav. So I'm not sure what their go time is, like when they're actually going to just pull the trigger. Cannons are firing in, which does put them on a pretty hefty timer. Okay, looks like it's go time. Nurgle forces are starting to move up. Do we have the Bretonnian summons coming in just yet? Not just yet. The Single Blob is just huddling together for warmth and healing from Festy Boy. But I'm a little concerned. Tomb Kings and Cathay are looking a little slim on the high ground. I don't think they know how many Chaos Warriors are just here ready to pounce on them. These Peasant Long Spears and Skeleton Spears are not going to hold up to Chaos Warriors for very long. Even without Festus here to buff them up and heal them, they're just not going to do a whole lot. And yeah, these cannons are actually pretty far forward. I'm a little concerned they're too far exposed, but I don't know. Really curious to see what the Bretonnian summons are going to be. Plague Bearers coming in, Exalted Plague Bearers as well. Knights of the Realm are just backing off so don't get shot by the cannons, which are trying to target them now. And this is actually really dangerous. Like, having Skeleton Spearmen in the open field, they can get just destroyed by Bretonnian Knights, getting a good charge. Festus is getting hammered by the cannons and taking some good damage, but he will be able to heal that up. They're getting closer and closer to heal cap, especially when there's a Spirit Leech spammer, as well as a Sphinx. Oh, I didn't even notice the Necrotect, who has just Restore. No Vambraces of the Sun. You very often see them bring Vambraces of the Sun as that big debuff stick, just apply blinded and melee to really help you win the frontline fight and keep your forces alive. Is that Buna coming in on Chaos Warrior? It is indeed. It's a nice damage here. The problem is if it doesn't kill models, then Festus or Faye can just come over and heal it up, and it's basically no harm done, which could be a bit of a problem. So the Chaos Warriors are walking in, and the archers aren't doing a whole lot of damage to them, but those Exalted Plague Bearers are a different story. They're taking loads and loads of damage from, I'm not even sure what's shooting them. I think it was a cannon. And Prussian Prince still doesn't summon anything. He's sitting on almost 5,500 supplies. I'm really curious what he's waiting for. Another Plague Bearer coming in. Catapults are just shelling away at the archers. Trying to get rid of the archers to remove Cathay's Harmony actually makes their front line a lot weaker if you can get rid of it. So, once we got Libra Mortis coming down to try and keep this front line alive. Chaos Warriors are doing good work. I'm wondering if this replay is bugged at this point. Why is Prince not summoning? Is this replay bugged? What are they waiting for? Like, the Nurgle forces are almost here. Okay, Brett's summoning. There's the Knight summon. So, what do we got? Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm. Okay. Bunch up there. More okay, Grail Knights. They're just coming for a massive alpha strike on the high ground here. They found holes. They're just going to charge right through here, right around the side. Just start tearing apart this front line. They can punch right through these Jade Warriors, get in these cannons. There's not a lot here to stop them. There's one Righteous Lances. There's some Jade Lancers coming in, as well as some Ushabti. But most of their big cav killing power is on the low ground, because that's where the Bretonnian cav has been this whole time. Festus is in the open just getting shot, and Faye needs to get in this fight as well. Nurgle's actually having a hard time getting their single entities in the fight because those cannons are just pot-shotting them, but I mean, as long as Festus is alive, he's still a threat. Like, he's just doing so much to support his army. And now the Knights are just streaming in. Iron Gunners on the field as well, but I feel like the Knights are just kind of late. A lot of the Chaos Warriors have been, broken off, terror routed already, just lots of damage taken, but the Knights are coming in, the Furies as well. Furies going straight for those Iron Hail Gunners, which is exactly what you need. You really need to shut down those Iron Hails. Buna coming down on those Knights of the Realm. No, that's a Spirit Leech. And just, yeah, now the Knights are just streaming into the backline. And this is what Prince is good at, man. He knows how to micro his Bretonnian cav. He ran the backline, bouncing straight into the cannons. The Cathay backline is suddenly very, very compromised, but I worry that the Nurgle front line is just too much in tires to actually follow up. The Knights are getting torn apart with the Sphinx of Uzkep, as well as the Righteous Lances going down on some of them. More Knights coming uphill onto the cannons. Jade Lancers are streaming in to try and stop them. But the grind is going fairly well for Nurgle and Bretonnia. They have some Footscars here as well. They're taking the objective on the top. They've got the objective on the low ground, completely contested. It's a nice... that's a Chalice of Potions doing some good damage to the Skeletons, the Jade Warriors. Cannons are being shut down, the Archers are being routed, the Iron Hail's taking loads of damage. Zhao Ming is coming over to try and peel off his backline. But the Bretonnian Knights are just swarming. And there's so many of them. They've got those passive heals from Nurgle and the Fae. Doing loads and loads of damage. And now Zhao Ming is trying to come to the aid of his people. protect them, but these are right next to the realm. They'll trade just fine, those big single entities. Right slits are doing a good job. In the front line, the skeletons are starting to crumble, but they're buying so much time, and this single entity blob is going to do work. It's basically a double Mortis engine. Well, Festus isn't Mortis right now, he's healing, but still. Loads and loads of damage. The backline is being shut down pretty heavily, and Cathay is losing grass on the high ground, but they do have a lot of reinforcements coming in. The problem is that none of these knights in the backfield, they can camp the reinforcements very, very effectively. Because just look at this downhill charge damage on these on these Hekara warriors. Do loads of damage. Yeah, Tomb King's infantry is so soft to Bretonnian Cav. They have very, very little mass. They just get lanced down so easily. What kind of summons do we have coming in for... Prussian Prince is banking a lot of supplies again. I'm not sure why. I wonder if he's just not super familiar with Domination. He's behind on summons. Looks like Cathay and 2K are already bound supply cap. Spirit's coming on these questing knights who are stuck fighting Tomb Guard halberds, which is not where they want to be, especially with the Righteous Lancers on top of them as well. But, yeah, I'd love to see Faye and Festus just moving towards the center, just getting these massive mortars and good damage. Stream Crush coming in, that passes him, doing good work. Despite being pretty heavily down on value, Nurgle and Bretonnia are holding on to these points very, very tenaciously. Double Necrotech coming in. Do either of these have Embrace of the Sun? No, just the Restore. Interesting. I guess that helps heal up the Necrosphinx, which is pretty big, but I don't know. Festus is starting to now flip the cap in the center. They got a nice blob of Chaos Warriors and Plague Bears, as well as the healing from Faye, and Festus doing really good work. So they should be able to flip this cap pretty soon, as these Tomb Guard or skeletons won't even last that long against all these Plague Bears. Plague Bears are very, very good at chewing through lightly armored infantry with their massive weapon strength. Also, wouldn't even mind seeing Festus turned on to damage to start chewing through these blobs faster. The Sepulchral Stalkers are putting pressure on him, and Zhao Ming looks like he's eyeing him up as well. Spirit Leech, they're really focusing Festus, which is probably pretty good. Dealing with Festus is a big problem. Festus is a massive nuisance, and he now is swapped on the damage, but he's in a lot of trouble. Anyway, Pressure Prince is still banking a lot of resources. I wonder if he's just forgetting to summon. On the high ground, Cathay's backline has been entirely routed by the Bretonnian Knights. And the low ground, the grind is just going very, very poorly for Cathay and TK. Cathay's front line, without any harmony, is not doing very well into the Mortis blob. Festus is routed and running away, but he is healing up, so he should be back before long. But that Necrosphinx ain't interested in letting him come back. Both as well in the blob. Faye doing some good work pushing towards the Necrotex. Necrotex, are they mounted? Necrotex are on foot. The Paladins won't do too well against them. And the Chalice of Potions coming down. Let's hit the Sepulchral Stalkers and not do a whole lot of damage. Did a little bit. The Necrosphinx is trying to catch Faye, but she's in the back line. Trebs are still just firing completely free, doing some good damage. Fury's coming back in, Knights as well. And the 3-cap is almost in for Festus and Bretonnia. Looks like, which cap flipped? Did they back cap? I didn't even notice the back cap. Jade Lance are fighting Nurglings. I think Nurglings might actually win that fight, I'll be honest. Miasma and Pestilence, they're doing next, no damage. That's the 3-cap coming in. Festus is healing up and coming back as well. Also, I wonder if you just desummon Festus and resummon him, because you have plenty of resources as a Nurgle. Yeah, you're already you have all your units on the field, so you have nothing to summon at the moment. So might as well just desummon Festus, I feel like. It'll take him a while to get back. Value is very heavily in the favor of the red team, but the Nurgle healing as well as the Fae healing is just doing so much work to keep them in this fight. Plague Bears just running rampant on the high ground, as well as the Foot Squires. These Foot Squires have been fighting since the beginning of the game. Well, since the beginning of the fight, with this Growler, they can just do really, really good work against the Tomb King infantry line. And yeah, the missile line is just completely falling apart. The Bretonnian Knights Vanguard, or the initial charge was just devastating. Doing very, very good work. This is Corruption. Faye is getting punished a little bit by Arcan, Righteous Lances, the big single blob, but I feel like it's just too late. They're just all over this map. It's going to take so long to get all of these hit points off the field. And I suspect Nurgle is going to be, as soon as something's available, they're resummoning it. And we have more Knights coming as well, Questing Knights. And now the real problem is, if these Questing Knights just swing around and start intercepting these Skeleton Spears, it's so hard to get reinforcements, because as you saw, the Tomb King infantry is so soft to Bretonnian Knights. So they can just intercept the reinforcements, just lance them down. You need to have some kind of mass to actually protect your infantry and your missiles on the way to the fight against Bretonnia. It's so tough to deal with. Festus is back in the fight. He's healing up everything here. The Nurglings alive, the Chaos Warriors. I really love to see a blob punishing spell, but there's just none available. I'd love to see a War Opus coming for Cathay, honestly. A Compass could help do so much damage with bound comets and lightnings into these Nurgle blobs. It could be absolutely disgusting. Yeah, still a very solid hold on the high ground. We got a spear wall coming up. They're just braced and waiting. They're waiting for the right moment to go in, but they're just getting pushed by the Plague Bears. Just Nurgle's just a relentless tide moving ever onward. Just seems to be the unstoppable force. And now we get some nice charges on the low ground. Oh, give it to me. Oh, yes, that's what Cavs should feel like. Instantly routing, well, crumbling. Now immediately bounces to another Infantry unit and does it again, and that's all. Bretonnian Cav against the Tomb King Infantry is so satisfying. Give it to me again, Prince. Give it to me. Which unit are you even charging? I don't even know which unit you're charging, neither do you. So, but still. Look at those bones go flying, baby. And yeah, playing the side objectives against Bretonnia is so difficult as Doom Kings. You need Sepulchral Stalkers or Ushabti or some kind of mass to actually stop them. And neither of these factions really provide any good options for that. Like, both Cathay and Doom Kings really want to shoot these knights, which means that they're just free. Even while they're getting shot, they're free to just do what they want. Zhao Ming is trying to chase down Fei. Fei dies, the Bretonnian leadership may start to struggle a bit, but there are some Furies here to protect them, as well as the Knights could actually come and bail her out, but she's terror routing away. I just forget the Fei can terror route. She's always near Grow Release, so it doesn't really matter. Festus is just completely dominant in the center objective. He's almost dead, but he's done so much for his army already, just with the healing. Trebs are firing in on the Sphinx of Uskep now, who is starting to crumble away, fighting Henri Le Massif. And yeah, the points are, yeah, Red team does have to 3-cap, and I just don't see it happening. Cathay is very, very terrible actually getting back onto the map. The infantry push is very, very slow, and Tomb Kings aren't a whole lot better. Festus is about to die, but I don't think it's going to matter. They got the double Lord tech, but it's going to be too little too late. They're within 200 points and still holding a 3-cap for the moment. This is looking really, really rough for the red team. Slow and Brett screen them out. It's sick, yeah. Yeah, Nurgle is nasty in 2v2s, especially when piloted by, you know, Houseplant himself. He's probably the best Nurgle player in the world. Easily the best Nurgle player in the world. He's so good at it. Grail Knights and the Paladins are bringing down the Sphinx of Uskep, and with it falls the hope of the Doom Kings, I think. Restore is coming in, but there's just so much damage all over it. And it is disintegrating. And that is all she wrote, I do believe. The Bretonnian Tide, along with the Nurgle healing, is so strong. Oh, Festus died finally. Fei is still alive, though, and she is just raring to go. Nice Earthblood coming in. Only a few seconds remain, and yeah, the artillery resummon. I don't know. Artillery is. I have mixed feelings about artillery in 2v2s. Like, resummoning it is never useful. At this point, it's just too late in the game and too exposed. Like, even if it wasn't too late in the game to get its value off, it's never going to spend all its ammo. There's not enough time because the game's over right now. But like, it's so hard to protect it in the late game like that, I feel like. Yeah, Bretonnian Nurgle looks nasty in 2v2s. Bretonnian Knights, yeah. I don't know, I feel like both of these factions really struggle with the Bretonnian Knights. Questing Knights did good, Grail Knights did good, Knights of the Realm did amazing. Not bad for a rusty old Bretonnian player. Chaos Warriors provide the front line that Bretonnia needed. Brett provide the mobility Nurgle needed. It's a really nice combo, I think.